Yes. Hello everyone. Yeah, so today I'm starting a bit early because I have some errands to run. But I wanted to play with some geometry nodes and yeah, let's create a procedural building in Blender. How do we approach this? I'm going to grab. Let me first change my viewport here. I'll join this, split this, and use this as the geometry editor. Okay, so let's create some procedural buildings. We're going to start with a plane and create a new node here. And I want to start with a grid, and also I usually like to turn on wireframe so that I can see the points that we are going to instance our polygons on. And yeah, basically what we're going to do is add a geometry mesh primitive. We want to start with a grid. Yes, show this. You can see we have a grid with a few subdivisions, and we can create our block. And let me first create a block that we are going to instance. Let me see if I can get a building here that we can look at. What kind of buildings? Maybe let's do apartment building. Because they're well, they are nicely. They have some nice modules. So let me get a reference image. Let me have this, and here. Yeah, so let's try something like this. So we can create. This is going to be one block like this, and what I'm thinking is we can make a few modules like this. So this would be a module, and this would be another module. Now we can duplicate them accordingly. And I'm not sure if I want to separate the windows. Let's assume this is going to be our first module. Let me also just turn on our random colors here. So what I want to do is let me first have this here. I want to also have mesh primitive align here. Let me first reduce the sound. So the grid is going to distribute these elements, and we want to use the mesh line to duplicate the grid. Let me just do instances on points like this, and I'm just going to grab this cube. So let me call this geo for our geometry node. I'm going to grab this cube and bring it into our you can see it's being instanced on every vertex of our grid. If I mute this for a second, you can see we are going to this instancing on points, just instancing a cube on every point. So let me unmute this. So I just have to make sure that the scale of this is applied. Maybe make it even smaller. So this is our grid. Position it like that. Now let me also just scale it in so that everything fits well, and I want the beginning point to be at the center there. So you can see now if I wanted to add a window, I just have to edit this, and you can see how that window will reflect in here. And I want there to have to be no gaps between this. So yeah, something like that. And still I want the vertices to be at the pivot point like that. Hello live FF Ukash, how are you doing? Yeah, so now we have a grid that instances our cubes like this. So we have the level finished, and if I scale this on the If I add more vertices on the X and on the Y, you can see we get more subdivisions. Let me first mute this. We get more subdivisions, which means that now we also have more points to instance our cubes. But let's first bring this back to 3 and mute this. Another thing I want to do is have a way to control the height. That's why you see I have, hey, what's up? I'm good. How are you? I want to kind of have a way to control the height. That's why I added a line mesh. So what I'm going to do is, before I even instance these points, I'm going to instance the grid onto our line. So if you look at the line, you can see it's just a line like this. And if I instance points and I use this grid as the instance, you can see we have now a grid at every point of the vertex. So if I reduce the count, you can see I can change the height simply by doing so. Now that we have this, I can now use this geometry to be the point that instances the cubes. So we have a block like that. The height of the building by just reducing the height here. That's the spaces between them is just too much. So let me make sure it's not. So you can already see our building is coming to shape, just like that. Another thing I could do is reduce the vertices on the, let me see, on the Y to be 1. So we have one face like that. And if we just look at, let me first mute this. You can see how this looks. You can see how this looks. One thing I could do is also rotate. Let me use a join geometry here. So I'll go to geometry, join geometry like this. I want to rotate this grid so that we have other cubes facing this side, others facing this side, others facing this side. And let's see if this would work. So if I grab, actually, do I want to do it like that? Because we have this. Actually, I think if we just, so we have one face of the building. If we join this geometry here, if we duplicate this geometry again here, we need to first transform this geometry. So I'll get a geometry transform and rotate this 90 degrees on the Z and reposition it on the other side. Just translate it to be like so. Actually, we need it to be around there. I'm not too worried about precision. Like that. We can have a building block that looks like that. And they're all being controlled. The height is still controlled by this single node. So can also have this duplicated on the other side. So I can also just do the same setup, but instead this time I can grab, I think I can just do it here, add another join geometry here, and this time I think we need to rotate this 180. Yeah, 180 like that, and move it like that, and here like that, maybe 1.5. Like that. Hello Deflex YT, how are you? Now you see how our building apartment looks. Again, we still have control over the height just like that. Now let's create. Can go for 47K. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean, but anyway, so yeah, we have control over the height. Now let's add the top floor, this part here. We can just go into it. You can just create a new plane. I'll just size it up to this mesh and just add some details. Just round off, make these corners like that. So this is going to be our top floor. Maybe insert this a bit like that, but we also want it to be positioned to be positioned at the top of the building. So what we're going to do is just, let me rename it to top floor or roof. Let me call it roof because it's a roof. Okay, so like this, I'm going to grab it here and just join it to the geometry like so. You can see now it's positioned at the center, so we need to first reset the position a bit. Actually, let's first get it to be at the height of the building, and we know the height of the building is we know the height of this building is simply the number of count or the number of these blocks, because you can see every time we add a number here, it's just adding to the height, and the height is just this z-axis. So the total height is going to be the count times the number of meters here. So we can use that to just have to be the position, to set the position of this geometry. Hello, Eugene Randall. How are you doing? Good morning too. Okay, so to set the position of this, we are going to go under geometry, set position, like this, and you can see we can control the height of this. But like I said, we want to get the height at this point, and the way we arrive to it is by getting the count here, which is the number of instances here, times the height, each height of the floor. So to do that, I'm just going to create a group input, and just so that I can access the height directly here. So whenever I change this, I can change that. And I also want to access this value. So I'll just go under input value, just type in 0.5, and that is going to be the Z axis here, but I need a separate or combine XY, combine XY, so that I can use this for the Z axis. And then now to get this to the height here, all I have to do is grab a math node, multiply the count plus the height of each floor, multiply, and that should give us the position, but we need a combined XY because this is the offset is a vector, so this goes into the Y position, and you can see now we have this at the height, but it's not at the center, so let's center it. It's a bit off. Yeah, something like that. So now when we change the height, the roof also changes the height. Hey, Desi at, how are you? Glad to see you. Okay, so that's where we are. Another thing we might want to do is I'm looking at adding a balcony on each of these buildings, and maybe let's make our windows look a bit better. So I'll just go into object mode. Now let me clear this node, go here. Let's see, what should we do? What should we do? Yeah, on this side here, we want to add in this extrusion here. So let's make that block. So the original block of let me see, where is this? Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, we have this. Yeah, I want to have this kind of inset here. So I'm just going to reuse this here. So Shift D, and I think I need to rotate this to face me. Make this window the same shape as this. So I'll just model this quickly here. Just add in a few extra details. And also just come in here, insert, extrude, and I just grab this. So we have a window like that, and maybe to make it even appear more detailed, just going to rotate this. You know what, let me not do that. Let me just first grab this. I think I can grab this. Have this up, grab this and this. Just give them a nice rotation, just and we can also add these details in. So I'm just going to grab a cube, just like that. Good morning, dude, and everyone else. Amount we early? Yeah, we are a bit early today. I have to go somewhere, so I decided to stream a bit early, so that I can make that appointment. Yeah, so we want this block to be here, or to replace this block here. So what I'm going to do is let me go back. I'll bring my output here. And let me look at the geometry at here. Okay, that's just a single line, the mesh line, and we also here we're instancing that. And let me see. So this is when we start to add in that block. I think we can add an extra block here. How do we do that? So if I grab this block, I'll call this window block. So if I bring that window block in here and have a look at it, it's just a block like that. But we have this mesh line, here. Let me look at that. I wish there was an easier way to preview any node like what we have in Node Wrangler. So I'll have this mesh line. I want to instance points on it. So I'll instance this on it like that. And it's still controlled by this height. So here we have this here. So from there, I can grab a join geometry. Let me grab this, Shift D, and join this to it. And you can see we have this block in the middle. So I want to move it. So I'll just use the set transform or set position. So under geometry, I'll use the set position here. And just move that along the x-axis to somewhere there. And I also want it to come out a bit just like that. So something like that. And now if we look at this. We have, it was just this rotated, so instead of using this, we can now use the new updated geometry, and it should have that block as well. Now if we look at the final thing, you can see we have now this new instance on every side here except on this side. So we can come back to our about here, and duplicate this again to have it on this side. Again, to duplicate it, you just have so let me see. We have this here, so I can just grab a join geometry and grab a set position. So that, let me reset these. So we have two copies now. If we use a join geometry here, just offset this on the X and have this, preview this for now. Preview this. We want to have this moved on the other side, so I'll just move it. And remember, they're all controlled by this side, so that's great. So we have a block like that, looking like that. Now let's see, we need now this to be the final input here. And let's see how the final thing looks. Yeah, so it looks like this, except the positions have to be changed a bit because we have added more geometry. So I'll just, I think is it this? No, that should stay like that. Let me see what part this is. Yeah. You know what? I think let's just repeat this again, just to, because it's getting confusing a bit. So let me, since we have most of the setup already, let's redo this again in a much easier way that is understandable. So actually, you can even just start with a completely new node, since we have these here. And let's start with a plane again, clear out the position, and I think this is also a good thing for anyone who has just entered the chat and doesn't really know what we're doing. So we are creating a procedure building like this. We have gone on to model some of the modules. So this module here is supposed to be this window here, and this piece here should be this piece. I won't do the small one because that would be more work. Anyway, so yeah, we are starting with a plane, creating a new geometry node. You're entering now. Good to know, Burning Bright. And yeah, we have just almost restarted because I think more people have just entered, and we can just redo the thing. We have gotten the workflow ahead. So okay, so what we want to do is first create a grid instance. We don't even need a grid instance. We can just start with a line. So mesh primitives line like this. Let's use this as the geometry. And you can see we want it to be on the X to go on the Y direction, to go in the Y direction. So I'll move this in the Y. So I'll zero out the Z. Yeah, so like that. And I can add a point instance on points like this. And I grab the first cube here. I'll call this window 1. And let me grab my geometry. Where is this? Yeah, this here. I'll call it geo again. Yeah, so, and let me move it up a bit. So we can reset it back again. So I can bring the window one and use it as the instance. So like that, and you can see how that looks. Is that our block? Yeah. It's window one. Okay, where are my subdivisions? Yeah, so it's being rotated in the wrong direction. So I'm just going to grab it and just rotate it. Rotate the window to face us. So rotate this 90 degrees at face us, like that. And I want to make sure that the center of this is there. So origin, Shift S, right click origin to 3D cursor, like that. Hey Loki, love you as well, love. Thanks for the support. Yeah, so we have instanced this block on every mesh, on every line. So if I mute this, you can see our line is here, and this line has points that can be added to or reduced to by using this count. So if I increase the count, just think of it as an array, and we can change the array distance by just adjusting this distance, like so, something like that. And we need this to be 1, 2, let's say four blocks like that. And then we can add this window. Let me rotate this again, 90 degrees. Let me see. We want to add this on the last window, on the first and the last window. So to do this, we can just bring in the block window here, and I use a join geometry. So instance. So this looks like this. It's just this block here, and I actually want it to be rotated. So I'll just use a geometry transform node, and I want it to rotate this 90 degrees. Now if I use the join geometry here and join it with this, you can see how this looks. I can now reposition this somewhere like that. And I think what the other thing we could do is just add the same detail, this window detail on this side here. So I'm going to come to this here. Where is this? Yeah, this here. And use a mirror modifier. Turn on bisect, so that I can simply rotate this. I want to rotate. How do I do this? I think I can. Actually, let's not use the mirror. Use the mirror. You can simply just add that detail directly by just modeling it. So again, create the same detail here, and can grab this window element, Control L, Shift D, rotate, and I just add it here as well. And I can grab these, Shift D, have them here. Now you can see how that should update here. Okay, so it seems to be facing the wrong direction. So I can just scale this in the -X to mirror it. So we have a window here, we have a window here. So at the start of this geometry, we have that. And I also want this to be at the end here. So I can use another join geometry here, bring this geometry in, and again use the set transform. We can just use the set position. If I preview this geometry, we have two copies here now. Actually, this should be. Let me first preview this because it's much easier. We can have this and this. I want another one of these windows at the end here. So we just need to get a join geometry, bring in this, this and this, have it here, use a set position, geometry set position here, to adjust the position X to have it here. Now the problem we're going to run into is if I increase the count here, they're just going to go right through this element, this window. So I want to also kind of set the position of this using to be based on the position of this. So I'm going to grab a group outline, a group input, and I just bring the count here because I want to use it here, and I'll hit N, rename this to building width. My actually not naming the right node, so this here should be building width. Width. So when we change the building width here, we're changing the width, but I also want it to be to affect the position of this, so that is always at the end here. And to do that, we just need the building width times the width of the blocks here. So just grab, actually we can just get a value, value input value like this, and now we can just set it to 0.5 like that to be the same width as this, and I just multiply. So math, we can use under utilities math, multiply the width by the value here. I'll just call this node block width, so that I know what. So just also make sure that this is the same. Okay, so now with this, I need this to be multiplied, and this is going to be the new set position. I need, since this is a value and this is a vector, I need a combine xy so that I can affect is it the x? Yeah, the x value here. The x value. So now every time I increase this, you can see I can change this block as well. But it seems that this block is intersecting with the other block for some reason, and maybe that could be because this is not at this. We need to have this at the pivot point there. Since we have adjusted that, we might also need to change a few values here. So first I'll grab this position here, change the y value there, and also want to adjust. So is it the x value to be just a bit like that. So now just adjusting this can adjust the building width, and I'll grab, let me see, I have this, I have actually, I think for this here we need this to be to not use the same node here, so I can just adjust this to be at the same level as the others, and I want this to be offset another block, so I'll add a math node here. I think I have one here. I'll just add 0.5 so that now we can adjust this much easier. Another thing I'm not seeing here is that this, we also need a window this side, so I just have to, let me see, scale this. Let me grab another transform node here, and just reset the transformation and the rotation. The rotation can stay 90 degrees, but this can be 1 like that. I think yeah, we don't need the add anymore like that. So we have that. We have one face of the building, and let's reduce the building width. Now let's work on the height. So to work on the height, we are going to need another line, mesh line. So this here. Now if we preview this, it's just a line. Let's make sure that it's vertical, not horizontal. So set this to 0, set this Z. So it's just a single line that goes up like that. And we can use this as the building height. So I'll go to node group and change this to should be an integer. Change this to building height, and adjusting this count should change the height of the building. And why are we not seeing this? I think I messed up something for some reason. So let's try this again. Count goes into the building height. So if I preview this node, we should see a line in the Z axis. Is this supposed to be a float? No, not sure. Let me get rid of this. Just duplicate this and use a count. Hey Zigzag, how are you? Hello Mokra, what? Thanks as well. Okay, so we have this, and let me preview this. See, yeah, so this is our line. It's going in the Y direction. We want it to go in the Z direction, like that, and it's going to affect the height of the building. So I'll call this building height, like that. So adjusting this should adjust the building. So now we have two nodes. We have this block. I want to instance it on the Y line, this line. So what we need to do is just add geometry, instances on points here, and the instances are going to be this geometry we already created, like that. So now adjusting the building height should adjust the height like that, but there's a lot of gap here, so we can reduce the Z offset to be smaller. Yeah, 0.5 like that. So whenever we adjust the building height, we get that. Let me reset this. Loving Blender 3.0. Oh yeah, I'm also loving it, man. Also loving it, especially the geometry nodes. I was hesitant to get onto geometry nodes, but now I'm finding it very amazing to use. So we can control the width of the building, we can control the height. Now let's complete the rest of the building. Just rotate it so that we have all these four sides of the building. So to do that, since we already have this set up, all we need is a join geometry node here, and just grab our geometry transform node, join them, and we have two copies now. So I can rotate this 90 degrees and just move this on the Y to be somewhere there, and on the X you can have it. I think this looks even cooler. So we're still able to control the height here, the width here, and controlling the width is changing how we need. Okay, this group here might need to be different, but let's first make sure that whenever we change the width, it's also pushing this block to this side. And to do that, we just need to get the width. We just need to get the width. Yeah, thank you for subscribing. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. So we just need to get the width and just add it to the set position. So we need the group input here. Let me group input. We need the building width to be used as the position here. So I'll just grab a combine XY. Let me first zero this out. Actually, let me just grab a set position. Let me use a set position. So geometry set position here. I'm going to use the building width to set the position. But of course, we need a combine XY, so I'll just duplicate this here. Just first zero out these. First zero out this, and this is going to be on the Y. So let me remove all of these. So when we change the width, you can see the block also goes with it, but for some reason we still have a gap here. So what I can do is just translate. Let me go to the top view, just adjust these to be somewhere like that. So when we change the width, okay, it seems to grow as well. So let's not adjust these here. So what we can do is just use a math node under utilities, math node, add it here. Let me see if that seems to grow the position. Okay, we might need a different way to approach this. So before we work on this block here, let me first get rid of it. We might need a different way to approach that side. I think the best way to do that is let me see. If we go back to, okay, we're starting to have a lot of confusion here. We have a lot of nodes. Let me first look at frame these. Let me search for frame. Is a frame node. I thought, yeah. Just so we know what's going on. Let me bring the node output. I think I need to change my layout a bit because I'm using it more in a horizontal fashion than in the Y. So let me just join this and have this as the image editor, just so we can have this previewed here. It says the whole node system on the X or Y. I'm not sure what you mean there. I'm not sure what you mean. So let's examine these node groups again, because they're getting a bit too cluttered and confusing. So this is going to be, let me get the group output here. Yeah, so this is block. This is the block, and if I join and hide these, this and this. Let's look at this here. So it's this entire piece is I'll call it wall left, a wall 1, and hey, let me see if I bring this, yeah, wall 1. These all should be in the frame wall 1, so let's grab them. Yeah, so it's easier for us to work out what everything is. So this is wall 1. Now we need to create another wall for this side, or let's call this the X wall, the Y wall for the Y-axis wall. Now we need an X-axis wall, so I can grab this, and this is going to be the X-axis wall. So if I duplicate this, look at this. Should have planned this much better with frames to begin with, because it's coming a bit cluttered. Let me see. Do you sell models on Gumroad? I sell them on CG Trader and on my Patreon page. So we have this block already finished. The only issue is if we try to duplicate it, it also changes a few things. But yeah, let's first add. Let's see, what else can we add in before we make changes here. We can add some of these. We can add. Let me see. Let's try adding this escape ladder. So we need, for that we also need to first create the escape ladder. So I'll just come in here, just start with a plane. If you don't mind me asking, why not Gumroad? Gumroad, it's just there are just so many platforms to put your models on. I use TurboSquid, I use CG Trader, and each of these platforms takes a lot of time to upload these models, and each of these platforms has a different way of uploading models, and so you have to just post one model, you have to spend about 30 minutes to post it on one platform. So the more platforms you have, the more time it's going to take you to upload the models. So that's why you see. And Gumroad also has another thing that I didn't like. If someone buys a model on Gumroad and they ask for a refund for any reason, Gumroad will just terminate your account. Because I remember I was selling there my grass asset pack, and someone bought it and asked for a refund, I think a few times, and instead of trying to see why they asked for the refund, they just terminated my account. I could of course open a new one, but I decided not to because I wasn't sure why it was happening, and then they really never gave me any reason why they terminated my account, so I chose not to work with Gumroad again. So we're creating some steps here, and let me see. I think you were doing right when you duplicated the Y wall on and their instance in the X-axis. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it that way, but Yeah, I want to first add in a few details here before we get to that, as I'm thinking of a better way to actually approach it. I think I can grab so this is going to be this, and I think I can rotate this. We need another one of these. Extend this. And then you can grab the entire setup again, mirror on the Y and mirror on the X. Just bring this up. Is it supposed to be like this? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like that. Hi, I'm Pajan. Thanks for the training. No problem. Thank you as well for joining us. Okay, so that's going to be our ladder. We just have to reposition it and make sure that it's the same width. Yeah, thank you for subscribing, Ahmed Zin. Apply the scale here. Yeah, so this is going to be our ladder. I'll call it ladder. And the way it's going to work, we just let me see. We have this. Let me look for what was this called. Window 1. Let me look for window 1. Let me just grab our. Let me first bring in our ladder here. Bring in our ladder. Now let me preview how this. If we join it, join it to the nodes. Let me just use a geometry. Join geometry here. Bring this in. You can see where it is. And we can use instances to point. This is going to be our instance, and this is going to be our point. You can see it's being instanced on the y-axis, but I want it to be instanced on the x-axis. So we need the y-axis, the z-axis line, which should be, yeah, this one here. So now you can see that it's going up. Like that. So we can move this in the middle, I think. Yeah, in the middle. So I'll just add a set position for, let me get as geometry set position here, and offset this on the x around there, and and on the Y there. So changing the height affects that. Changing the width, well, we need this to stay in the middle of this building. So to do that, the set position needs to be calculated from the width of this. So I'll get a combine XY and grab the width to affect the Y position. And we need it to be divided. So I'll get, hello, I'm Anav Padilla. How are you doing? I want this to be divided by 2. Why is it even, so let me see. Width. Yeah, so this should be divided by 2 at least. So I'll go to utilities, math, divide this by 2. That should put it, let me first move it out a bit, by 3, by 4. Yeah, that should put it in the middle. Yeah, so it will always be somewhere in the middle. I like that. The model also still needs a bit of work, but that's okay. Now let's work on the other side of this width. So to grab the width, we need to instance this wall on this side. What we need is a completely separate Y wall or X wall. So all this could be done within minutes in modeling, but I guess this is practice. You just to master the geometry node. Well, this can be done in, of course, in a minute using modeling. But the great thing about nodes is that if you go through the trouble of making this, you can have a lot of variations. What you can do in modeling is you can't simply just do this, adjust the width and the ladders adjust their position. You can't change the height and the ladders just change. Like, of course, you can use an array, but yeah, it's going to be much easier for you to, after you set up these nodes. That's why Houdini is very powerful. It's very hard to learn how to use it, but when you learn it, you can make a lot of things that you can't do with traditional modeling. So that's why, yeah, this is practice, but it's also more practical than, especially if you're trying to create a city. I can make a lot of variations. So, for example, if I wanted to adjust this and maybe add a balcony to this, I could easily do this inside here. So if I added, let me just grab this mesh. I can easily do this, and you see now we have added a new detail to that, and I think I like that. So I'll keep it. Actually, let me make it even more detailed. Just so geometry node has a lot of advantages over the traditional modeling tools, and that's why Houdini is one of the most powerful tools in the VFX world, because of its geometry features that Blender and other applications were lacking, and Blender now is trying to catch up, which is a good thing for us. Okay, yeah, we have that. Now let's do this on the other axis. So one way to approach this is we can start with a different, where is our, so we can start with a different line mesh, and this is going to be in the X. So we use 0.5. So let's set this to be building. I guess this would be the length. I like that. Now this length, we are going to instance some points as well. So instance points, and if we look at this geometry, if we join this before we instance this, you can see where this is looking, and I guess we can use a negative value for this, so that is facing the building direction is this side, and we want to instance points on this, and the first thing we want to instance is our block, which should be mesh line instance. This is window 1. We want where is my object? So instance, yeah, this here. I don't the ladder. Let me just grab it again. So this window block here should be the instance here. Actually, it's not the window block. We want window 1. Window 1. I like that. And it does seems like we need to rotate it. So let me get our geometry transform here, and transform and rotate this 90 degrees. Yeah, negative 90 degrees. And also position this right there, and I also want it to start about there. So adjusting the width, so the length of the building, we'll adjust it here like that. And we also want another one of these window blocks on the other side. So I will grab, before I actually do that, I want to, let me see, where is, let me bring this output node here. I want to join, let me see what this looks like. No, not that. This, no. Should I join it here? I want to join this to the main branch, which should be maybe, yeah, this here. So we can grab a join geometry. So geometry, join geometry, join the two here. And now this should be the instance geometry. So let me first see what is, where is this? Where is our height? Building height. Let me rename this to height controller so that I can easily identify them. Height controller. Height controller. And so that means that this here should be the instance of that height controller. And now we have that like that. So controlling the height will control everything. Controlling the width will control the width. Controlling the length will control the length. Like so. Now another thing we need to do is add this this window, extra window on the other side. I'm making an open world game in India. That's nice. Nice. Okay, so if you want to share some of the work you have done, you can share that in Discord. I would love to see what you have done. I think this is coming out nicely. One thing we are missing is the ladder. I think we should be in here like that. So changing the height changes everything. Changing the width does that. Okay, now we need the window to block, so I just duplicate this and I use the window block. Just grab these and we need another join geometry here so that we can join, so that we can add in this. Actually, no, it shouldn't be here. It shouldn't be here. It should be after the instancing. So I guess it would be here. Yeah, like this. That's we need to reposition this. So I'll reset this and move this on the x-axis. And again, we want to tie the x position of this to the length, so that when we adjust the length, this width also adjusts. Now to do that, all we need to do is grab the group width, group length input. Let's grab a math node. So group length multiply by the, I think the scale. Let's see what is that instance, the line. I'm also going to rename this to building length controller. So we want to multiply this by 0.5, which is the length of our block, and we need to set that as the new position. So I'll grab a combine XY, a combine here, and this should be now the X position. So if we adjust the width or the length, yeah, except we need to multiply this by a negative value, and that should give us, so we can control the building length, you can control the building width, you can control the building height. One thing that we are lacking is the other side of the walls, which should be much easier to do. All we need is to grab another transform node like this, and another geometry node here. Connect the two, and this here. Connect this here. Yeah. Actually, no. We need. No, we need. So this stays like that, but we grab this and another one here. Then bring another position here. Let me see. Does that work out? Yeah, it should, if we connect this to the output. Doesn't seem to be what I expect. Anyway, what I want to do is just, let me first undo this. What I want to do is duplicate this entire block here, push it this side, and mirror it so that is facing the other side. And all we have to do is first figure out where that block is. So let me grab this and see. Yeah, so it's supposed to be, yeah, this here. So all we need to do is get and join geometry like this, and a transform. So we have this, but this shouldn't be 90 degrees. It should simply be on the opposite side, like that, and scaled -1, scaled -1 on the y-axis to mirror it, just like that. And now, instead of using this, we need to use this. So the final output, yeah, now we have that. So if we change the building length, you can see we are adjusting the length that side. But one problem we're going to run into is if we adjust the width, the other one is not going to adjust. To fix that, all we need to do is bring, let me see, bring, let me look at my ladder, because we have already set it up for the ladder. So where is my ladder? Here. Except we want to grab the building width. So this here, we need a combine XYZ. You can see where this piece is. So we want to adjust the Y position. So we can use the building width and set it as our position. So with building width, set it as the Y position. So now when we adjust the width, it should also adjust the position, just like that. So it doesn't seem to stick to this position that I want. So let me go back here and look for window, what we used for block width. We have a large nest here. It's starting to confuse, but it should be the building width. Let's see if we subtract utilities math, subtract yeah, it goes way faster. So I just want the position of this block to be the position of this, and that I think I need to get. Problem is that these nodes become too cluttered. It becomes a bit difficult to know the right node. I think all I need to do is grab the. So we have the building width. We need to multiply it. I think it should be multiplying it. Let me see. If we adjust the width, we are adjusting this. So just increasing the count. Let's use set position instead of this. So geometry nodes, join. Okay. I wish there was a better way to organize these, because they're getting a bit confusing. Let me have that there. So I have this node, Let me use geometry set position. Okay, that's only one block, so I think it should be this for the entire block, like that. And we need to adjust it here. So I think I know why the width is not going to work for us. So if I grab again, I need to bring back the combine XY set position. If I grab the width for the Y, it should give us the width. Let me first bring back my music. It should give us the width. So if we adjust the width, we get that. But I think we need to subtract because the width is just how do I explain this? Let me try doing it and see if it works, and then I can explain what I've done. So if I subtract 1, 2, it seems to just move the entire building block slightly a bit earlier than I expected to. I know how to fix this, but you have to untangle all these nodes again, which is something I don't want to do. So let's try something different. And first remove this. Where is my original node? We need to go back to the width line generator, which I think would be, yeah, I can't even see them from here, which would be, let me bring, I have to preview this. I have to connect this to the group output. So let me see. Yeah, so this here gives us the height here. So I need the count. Let me see, is it correct to do it that way? I think what I need is just to simply duplicate this with a join geometry. And let me grab a set position, geometry set position. So if we do it here, before we duplicate the other things, it can help us add the wall again. So let me get a geometry transform. And just, can't you parent the ladder to mid value or width? I don't think there is a mid value. Yeah, so if we have this there and have this as the new geometry, we can have the other side of the building like that. But we need to mirror this so that this side is facing this side. So I'll just multiply this, just have the y-axis negative. This is not where I should instance it. One other issue we are running into, this side here. Okay, if we do it from here, then this is going to happen. Let me first bring this down. Now let me just look at this wall. So I want this to be rotated to this side. So that means the join geometry should come after. So if I need to grab this here, so this here comes after the instancing, should come after the instancing, and this should be -1 to have this mirrored. And now this should be the one to go here, and then this this node would be removed. So this one here would be the one here. So now we have a block this side. If we adjust the width, it follows it as well, except we are missing this piece and the windows, but that's okay. We can come and adjust that again. Now we also need a way to adjust. Let me see, how long has this been? 21 minutes. So I think we might have approached this again in not in a proper way, because we have to go back again, and it becomes a lot more confusing. So I think the best way to approach this, let's try this again once more, and this time try to get it right, because I'm thinking if I try to go back and just look at the nodes, correct the nodes, it's going to be more confusing instead of just doing it from scratch. So let's start again with a plane, new. This time let's try to set up the parameters before we add any of the geometry to make it much easier for us. So I'll start with a primitive mesh line like that, and I want to first, I'll call this width building width controller, and maybe even change the color so that is so I'll just call it X controller, and I give it the color of the axis like that. So that means this is going in the X direction, like that. And I'll also bring in the group input node. This shouldn't go into the geometry, should go, and I'll call this X controller, X width, X or width, I like that. And we can use a join geometry here. Grab a set position. Where is it? Geometry set position. So bring this in and adjust this on the X like this. So that means we need the Y controller. So I'll call this node Y controller, and give it a green color for the Y like that. And I'll also use it as, set it as the Y width. So, and it also has to be in the Y direction like that. Let's see. Let me just bring this above. And we need to join this to this geometry like that. And I can see how this looks. So if I adjust the width, the X, we get that. If I adjust the Y, we get that. So we need to make sure that the Y, the X, this part here is adjusting with this Y controller. So to do that, we just need the width of the block. Let's just keep everything to 1 meter. We just need the width. Right? We just need a combine XY. Just set it here, and we want to affect the Y, so I can just grab the width directly. Is it the Y width? Yeah. And now if I adjust the width, the Y length shouldn't be, it should be Y length to avoid confusion, because that's why we are repeating this, because we don't want confusion. So Y length, but you can see we have a gap here. So to remove that gap, we're just going to use a math node here and just subtract 1. So now you can see when I adjust the width, yeah, we get that. So something like, let's have that. Now we want to duplicate this again, to duplicate this line. So I'll just grab another set position here. I'll grab a geometry node here, and let's first preview just that. Yeah, so this here. Let's try grouping these. I'll just adjust. I'll just group this, and I think we can reuse this to set the value here. So I'll just grab this. Let me see what's in this. Actually, maybe not. Let me first clear these notes, because they're kind of getting in the way. So we have this. Let me first preview what we have here. So we want to adjust this based on the X controller. So to do that, we need a set position. Actually, let me ungroup this. What I don't want is that they are getting cluttered, which makes everything a bit confusing. So we want to adjust. So first we need to set position. We need a set position here, and I'm just going to, actually I already have that. So this should be here. Grab the width, set that to the X, and that should be our new position here. So if I join these two nodes, we should have a full square that can be adjusted using this, like this. So you can see we can adjust the width, you can adjust this like that. Now we still have a gap here, so we have to do the same thing here. Subtract 1, and now we have a fully controllable flow. So we can adjust the height adjust the width, adjust the length. Now we need the height. Let me make sure that this is also a little bit more organized. Like that. Still getting cluttered, but I guess not as bad as it was before. Let's just add some basic framing like that. Now to adjust the height, we need another line here. I'll call this height Z, or Z height, and color code it as well to blue. And this is going to be it's not going to be joined, but we're going to use our point to instances. So points instances on point. So like this, grab, this is going to be our points, and this line this square we drew is going to be our instance, and this. So we need this to be on the Z because we are getting the Z. So we have created the blueprint, and I need to rename this node to, okay, this should be the Z height, and this should be the Y length to avoid confusion. So we have the blueprint here. You can adjust the height of the building, you can adjust the width, and yeah, so basically we have everything set up now. So now instancing, let's see. We can, again, it's getting a bit cluttered. So we need we need especially two to work on two sides. So this geometry and this geometry here. We have points here, so we can instance points here. And those instances are going to be the window like this. Sorry about the mic, but hello Akatuhurila Wilbur. I'm here in Uganda following nice work. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. So, which part of Uganda are you in? I'm in around Kajansi. So, okay, so let's rotate this instance. Let's rotate. Yeah, the audio was off, but I think I fixed it. I'm just going to add a geometry transform, and we need to rotate this 90 degrees or negative 90 degrees so that our blocks are facing the right direction. Nice. Okay, so let me scale this up. Okay, this approach also seems to have its own flaws, as I'm realizing. So there's always a lot to figure out let me see. Then we can also, let me see, for the, let me first reduce the building height here, and also adjust the width. Hello Rizo ER, how are you doing? Nightbot again, timing out people for no good reason. Sorry, sorry Wilberman. Nightbot can be harsh sometime. Okay, so now that we have that, we can also grab, let me see. There's several ways to do this, but getting the right proper way is can be tricky, because now I'm seeing these instances are being mirrored as well. So let me see, we have set instance. Sound problem? I think my mic is okay now. Rotation should be based on normals. Well, it depends on how you have approached the project, because if we try to do that, then the normal of these, that would require a completely different approach than what we are using here. So we got this to work correctly. The only thing I don't like, I see. So instead of adding the instances here, I think the trick is to, let me see, where do we join here? Yeah, is to instance them at around here. So this would be our geometry, like this. So this would be okay, it should be, the instances should go before we join the geometry again here. So this would be our instance. So now this side is worked on. Can rotate these instances 90 degrees like that, even scale them up like that, and then have the same instance here. So geometry instances here. This time this should be rotated -90 like that. Now we might have to adjust their X position. So I need a set position somewhere. So let me grab a set position here, just so that these are aligning -0.5 like that. So we have the sides set. We can adjust the width, you can adjust the follow along. Yeah, I think this is the best approach I can think of. You can adjust the height, you can adjust the width, the length, you can adjust that. Now it's we need to make the buildings on this side. We should also be simple, so we just need the Y controller and repeat the same setup. So I'll just grab these nodes, bring them up here, and basically duplicate the same setup. So at this point we have points here, so I can grab a set position or a set instances to points here, then grab the window again as the instance. You can see it here like that, and then we need to set position again. We need to rotate these 90 something degrees, or 180. Yeah, 180, like that. And we also need a set position, so just grab this, to adjust their position there. Like that. And I think so we can still, again, we need to make sure that we are checking. So you can see we can adjust the width, we can adjust the height, we can adjust the length, everything correctly. I think there was somewhere where I was subtracting 1. That's why we have this extra block. So if I move it to 0 there, and also instead of subtracting, remove that, then this block, we just need to extend it. So if I grab the set position, like that, we have something like that. Like that. Then we need the other side as well. So let's see where are these. So we're joining let me see, we have this line going here. Let me see, set position. Yeah, I think we need another other instances here. So we just need to grab this again, like that. Just remove the rotation, and basically we have everything set up now. Yeah, I think this is exactly what we needed. So we can control the width, you can control the length, you can control the height of the building. Now we want the corners. Let me make this like a smaller building, like that. What I want is to make sure that this side here has this block here. So to do that, we need, after the I think around here, so let me look at this. Yeah, around here we need to add a block to that, so I'll just go in here. I'm thinking we can still use a set instance. So if I grab this position here, duplicate this setup, bring in this geometry there, and join it. I think I need to join it either, I think around here. Adjust, let me see, if I adjust the scale. Yeah, I need the instance, and the instance this time is going to be window 1 for the instance. So I like this. You can see its position is there. Let me see, what do we have? Let me first look at this correctly, because I think I'm missing something. So if I grab this, we're just looking at the wire, and I want to instance this block here, our window block, which is this, onto that. So I'll grab a geometry instances, it's under instances on points, and use this as our instance like that. Actually, this is supposed to be window block like that, and the scale should be the same scale as this, so it should be 1.99 like that. And this geometry needs to be joined, I think, here. Let me first reduce the height. And we only want this. Let me first see. If I adjust the height, you can see this extends as well. So we only want this. Let me first set position here. Set position of this geometry to be, it needs to be around here, and these blocks need to be rotated, so 180 like that. Yeah, so we want a block like that, but we don't want them to occupy the entire floor. So we have a selection tool here. So what we can do is just select a few of these segments, so of the a few of these points to have the instances. So I can use an index attribute. So I'll just search for index. Use that as the picker as the index, and I can just also do a compare node. A compare floats. Let me see. Does this? This should be under selection. So we want to choose which instance we show. So we want to show the first instance like that. Now if we adjust the height, it exists there. Another thing I might want to do is set position, just move it in a bit because I don't want it to go too much out. Let me see, and maybe scale this also on the negative axis. So I'll just use a transform node. So geometry transform here, and -1 on the X, on the Y, -1 on the Y. Yeah, so we have something like this, and I also still want to adjust this to come around there. So again, if we adjust the width, we are adjusting the width. If we adjust the height, yeah, so have that. Now we also want it to be on the other side. So to do that, this is getting cluttered again, and when it gets cluttered, it becomes very, very confusing. We want, so we have this instance, and yeah, so basically we want to have the same thing here, but we need a join geometry here, and what we need to join is another one of these. So I just need the same setup here, join geometry, and the geometry is going to be this point, and the instance is going to be this instance. And now we need to create another selection. So this selection here, again, if we adjust this, you can see, but we want a greater than this time, so that we just have a point like that. But the problem is, I think if I adjust the width, we're going to still have copies being added, yet we only just want duplicates here. So I want to make sure that this instance, this distance here is based on the width here. So I'm going to grab, let me see, is this the width? Yeah, the length here. So I'm going to grab this, add it in there, and I think I should be here. But we need maybe to divide. So let's do our math utilities math node here. Divide by 2, and that gives us that. Let's see now. Okay, sometimes they will come up. The more, yes, I think the division will not works sometimes, but sometimes you'll get more copies, and when the width is too small, you don't get any. Let's see if we use subtract, because we want to get the last point. So let's do subtract 1. So the subtract 8, subtract 7, subtract 5, subtract. Okay, so it seems a value of 2 is what you want. Again, it's going to depend on your setup. So when we just subtract, you can see this. Now we have this added. So basically what we did, let me just try to explain to you. So we have a line here. We generated a line like this that has points on it. And basically to instance these cubes here, we use the instances on points. So we instanced a cube on every point here. And we are using it to adjust the height as well. So each cube here is on a point on this line. And to make sure that for these other windows, this here, to have it just on this and this, we are telling geometry nodes to instance this block here on the first index. So on the first index, by just saying that the first index is usually the index of 0. So we are telling the instancer to select the first index, which should be any index that is less than 0.6 or 0. Whatever. So anything less than that is going to be 0, which meaning that it's going to select anything below, anything with the index 0 below this, and those points are going to be added. Are going to have an index. Are going to have an instance. And if we increase the count here, so anything below any index that has any point that has an index less than 6 will have an instance. So each time I increase this, and if I reduce it to less than 1, then only the point that has index 0 is going to have an index. And then for the last point here, we are doing the same, but just the opposite. So we are getting the index or indices of every point here. So this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, up to whatever this is. Say, let's say 11. And we are saying just instance this block here on every point that has an index greater than the value we have added here. So greater than whatever we have here. So if I first remove this for a second, so if I say greater than 10, so it just means that any index, any point that has an index greater than 10, and So that's why you see we managed to have that. Let me clear this note again, bring back my music. And basically we have that block looking like that. So if we adjust the width, that is working well and nicely, except that this side is not going in as I wanted to. So all I have to do is just come back to this, come back to where is my instance window block here, and I need to add to set position of this. Yeah, here I need to set position of this block. Let me just reset this and just move it on the Y direction a bit, like that. And I think we need to rotate these points by 90 degrees and readjust the position a bit, and still double check to make sure that everything works fine. So you can see how the building looks here and here. Now we also need to do this on the other side, and the other side, let me see how that looks on this side. So this side we have, let me see, this it's already getting too cluttered. You have to go in and check my points. Yeah, I think a Blender still needs a better way to organize these. Hi guys, greetings from Brussels, Belgium. Thanks, Ray Roku. How are you? So we have this. Now to duplicate this on the other side, yeah, as I was saying, I think Blender needs a better way to organize these nodes. Maybe I just need to get better at organizing them because they're already confusing. Let's see, we have that. Now to move these points again to this side, I need to grab my Y length, is it? X length, and basically repeat the same setup. So I need to, let me first look at this. Actually, that's not it. Let's try this. Still not it. Maybe this. Nope. Sometimes we should model a Gothic castle. Yeah, I think we can do that. We can do that. Just make sure save. We just call it procedural building, and just now within this mess there is a line that I need to change so that I have these blocks also instanced on this side. Oh, another thing I need to do, I think, is go back to this original mesh and grab the balcony, the entire balcony, and just duplicate it so it's also on this side, and I think that will make the building even look much better. Now I need to grab, yes, how do you organize these nodes, because they are quite confusing right now. There are just too many, and I need that line. I think it could be this. Yeah, it is this. Before we instance anything on it, so after I think we instance nodes to it here, we need to bring in the window block again, and basically instance points. So I need to grab this here, these points. Let's look at that, and just grab this instance to instance points on it. And the scale of this is, we are using 1.99, I think, yeah. And we need to rotate these 90 or 180 degrees, I think. Yeah. Is it negative 180? Or 270? Yeah, something like that. And again, we need to select the first index. So again, to do that, we just need the index node, index. Use that as the selection, and we want to compare the index, compare floats. Make sure it's less than that, so that we are selecting the first index like that. And we need, where did this come from? Instance point. So we need to join, we need a join geometry node here, so we can join the two like this. We need to adjust the position of this. But before we do that, let's duplicate this setup again, so that we can let me join this again. This is the instance, and the points are going to be again what we are getting from here. This now becomes a greater than value. So anything greater than the, I don't know, the Y count, anything greater than the, let me expand these, anything greater than the Y length, I think, yeah, that's it. Let's add a math node here, utilities math. Yeah, something like that. -2 is what works. Now we need to rotate this the other side, so -90 actually just has to be rotated I think it's 180 degrees, like that. And we need to set position so that we can move its position a bit. So let's grab a geometry set position. Where is that? Set position, and just have it here. Has to be around there and around here. Same thing for this. Yeah, like that. Now if we adjust the width, we get that when we adjust. So then, so we have this. So we need to find where this joins in, which is a lot to unravel here. It should go somewhere around this nest. So let me see. We need, this is quite a mess. I think this, does it go here to this node? Nope. Goes somewhere in here. But this is a lot to figure out, and yeah, I think I'm going to end the live stream here. It's just I think we achieved what we wanted to do. Moreover, geometry nodes is too complicated to learn and should be used for particle systems. Actually, it's not that difficult to learn. It's just that it's actually very simple. The concept is very simple itself. The issue is setting up nodes can be, takes sometimes, and we have done this in 2 hours. But how do I explain this? It's not exactly difficult. It's just that you have to do, it's like coding, programming. Programming itself is very easy, but understanding how to make something work is the difficult part. But when you get over that, it makes it very easy. Yeah, organizing, if I organize these, it would make my life much easier, but it will also slow me down a bit because now I have to figure out how to. Yeah, so basically what I need now is just to figure out, let me see, can I, this nest is just too much. All I need is to figure out where I have to connect this node, and we would be done. The issue is there's just too many nodes. And live label, a quick search, etc. Live label, quick search. Do you mean that there is something called live label? Yeah, as I was saying, it's not really that hard to learn. It's just, it takes a lot of experimenting to know what node to use or where to, how the different parameters are going to work together. But after you're done setting it up, it makes everything much easier. So can I make instances of this or this? So you can see I can easily make a copy of this building at different heights. Now, setting this up with traditional modeling would be a bit difficult. So that's, I guess, the advantage of using this. And you can also make this work with materials, and then that would also be just amazing. So I think our building looks nice, especially for the side that was completed. This side too good, but this side, and then you can add a roof flow, and you'll be done. Anyway, I'm ending the live stream here. Thank you